Remember when you were a little child and you were convinced that when you grew up you would be a singer or a dancer or even run away with the circus? Did you do it? And if not, what changed? I'm Zelda Saint-Wilde, and with over 20 years' experience as a professional performer, I'm fascinated with what it is that holds so many back from pursuing their passion and what it takes to live the life we all deserve. Ask yourself, what if you were born to do this? Born to do this with me, Zelda Saint-Wilde. It's my pleasure to introduce a woman of many talents today, an entrepreneur and all-round female force to be reckoned with, Kitty Campari. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm really good, yeah. So nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's been ages.
It has been ages. We're doing well at the minute, though. We're on a little bit of a roll.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, we've had quite a long drought of years, and now we're like starting to catch up a bit more regular. So yeah, just to fill in like anyone that's listening, how we met doing well, we did a burlesque show together, didn't we? A cabaret show.
We did, yeah.
A review that was like a weekly review. So we used to do like a full show, didn't we, of like dancing, like cabaret, singing, that kind of thing. It was good times, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my first ever paid job as a performer, that.
Yeah, it was.
So you gave me my first ever paid job.
See, look at the magic I've made. look what came out of that. But I have nothing but fond memories of that. I mean, there was some random nights, I'm not going to lie, but it was a great period of time, wasn't it? A great bunch of girls. And
it was good times, apart from those spiders in the dressing room. I'm going to say that low point, but otherwise, yeah, it was really good.
The freezing cold dressing room, actually, yeah, that was not glamorous at all, was it? Like getting naked and getting dressed up, like meant to be feeling glamorous in the freezing cold, surrounded by spiders. You know,
yeah,
that's the showbiz life, isn't it? Really, that's the real behind the scenes. But yeah, so you've got loads going on, like you've done all sorts of shows and things now, but can we just go back to the beginning? Because I always like to start like in the early years, like Kitty as a child. So what was going on as a kid? Was you performing? Was you a little showbiz kid? How was it? Or nothing like that at all?
I didn't really, well, I went to dance school, so I like lived at dance school. I was like obsessed with it. But I didn't really do like shows or performances. I did exams and stuff like that. And I used to, as I got a teenager, I used to teach classes and things at the dance studio, but I was never really into doing shows or anything like that. I didn't do competitions really. I just went to dancing. I just loved being there. I just used to spend my life there, really.
Yeah.
That was like my thing.
What kind of dancing was you doing at that point? So a bit of everything, or?
I was a ballroom dancer originally. So I did that for like I probably did that up until I was about in my early 20s, and that was the only thing I did for a long time before I started like training other things as well.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of teaching anyway throughout your career, and you've always been a teacher.
Yeah, I've done loads of teaching. So qualified to teach when I was 17. I did that all through uni. That was like my passion, really. I love teaching.
So maybe a lot of people don't know, but you are actually a certified doctor. So Dr. Kitty. So where was this transition then? So from doing the dancing and all the training and then teaching. So what happened that just was the medical career? Where did that spring from?
Right. So I did my qualifications when I was still in sixth form for dancing. And then at school I was quite academic, and I was always like a straight A student and stuff like that. I was a bit of a nerd. So like all my teachers, when I said I wanted to be a dance teacher, were like, no, you need to go to university. You'll never make any money out of being a dance teacher. So basically I just picked the longest course I could do because I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life. And medicine was 5 years. So I thought, that's what I'm going to do. So I got a place at med school in Manchester, and I did my 5 years, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the party scene a lot more than I enjoyed the lectures. But I did love it. It was good. But then in my last year, I was having to give up all my teaching jobs. So I still taught dance all the way through uni to pay for uni. And then in the last year, because you're doing shifts and things like that, and you can't be reliable. And obviously as a dance teacher, if you're teaching kids and things, you've got to be there when you say you're going to be there. So if I was like stuck in theatre or whatever and I couldn't turn up to a class, it just wasn't working. So I had to start cancelling all the stuff that I was doing. And I just realised that I loved teaching dancing more than I was ever going to love being a doctor. So I just made that decision in that year that I wasn't going to apply for any jobs. I was going to graduate and then I was just going to teach dance. So everyone thought it was a bit mad, but it worked out in the end.
But knowing you, it just, to me, it's not even mad. It just sounds quite normal knowing you. You just do a medical career just for the hell of it, you know, do all that training and then be like, like you've just said, I mean, what if I'm in theatre? I can't get to my classes. I mean, that visual just sums you up. I think it's amazing. I love it.
Sometimes I've been looking at a watch in theatre and I'd be thinking, oh my God, I'm supposed to be teaching my class now. Sometimes I lay out on like in theatre and I'm just like bothered about getting to my class. So I thought, yeah, it's probably not for me. I probably
I'm sure you would have been very good at it, but I do feel like there's a lot of patients probably relieved that you was not the one in the theatre right now.
I was like, yeah.
Thinking about the dance class and not what you were doing. Brilliant. So you've always danced your whole life then, yeah? So it's just been a normal thing. Was there ever any point though when you were a child that you thought, like, obviously you went into medicine, but when you were a kid, were you growing up thinking you were going to be a dancer? Was ballroom like a thing that you thought as a career, or was you not really sure?
I don't think I thought I'd do ballroom as a career, but I always knew I was going to be a dance teacher, probably from like really young. My dance teacher used to use me a lot, like to demonstrate and stuff like that, and then I used to teach classes even from being like super young, from being like 13, 14. She'd like let me take over the class and teach for her, obviously under her supervision. So I always knew that I was going to do something where I'd be teaching dance, but I didn't really, obviously, other than like singing in my bedroom, imagining I was in like the Spice Girls or something. Other than that, I never thought I'd be like performing or anything like that. I just thought I was going to teach dancing and that's what I was going to do forever, which I have done forever, but obviously I do other things.
But you had your own dance school, didn't you? You did it properly. You had your own business and everything. How old were you when you started your first business then?
So graduated from uni in 2009, so I was about 23 then. And I think I opened the business maybe 2 years later. So I worked for my old dance teacher for a couple of years, but then she retired. So the students that I had in my classes, they came with me and I set up my own school. So I was probably about 24, 25 when I opened my first classes, but I was hiring halls and things like that. It was probably late 25 when I opened my first dance school, my studio.
Yeah. So when you had the studio, was that when you started thinking that you could do more performances and stuff? Was that really kind of what got you into that side of things, or?
Yeah, so when I had the studio, I had like more freedom because I then started employing staff and I got the business to a point where it ran itself. I only taught 1 day a week. The rest of my staff taught the other days. So I had loads of free time to like invest in doing something else. And then as I was coming up to being 30, obviously it was time for me to have like a mini midlife crisis. So I was like, oh my God, I've always wanted to perform, but I'm nearly 30. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So that's really like what pushed me to start. So when I got that job with you at Cirque, that was like a few days after my 30th birthday that I got that. I made that pact in my head that for my 30th, I was going to get my acts in gear, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's what I love about you. Like, this is what more people need this. Like, I feel like both of us as well, we might talk about age and stuff, and we might even take the mickey out of our age or whatever, but we've always it's never held us back. We've never stopped doing anything that we do. We've kind of just keep doing. It's like I got to my 40s and now I'm like, I'm going to be a DJ. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not? You know, who's going to say that that's not normal? And the fact that maybe it isn't normal just seems to push people like us on anyways, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a deterrent. Like, I don't think anyone else that I can think of has a career like you, like a varied career. And to think that you started to do shows as you turned 30 and that was the kind of the impetus sort of thing, or the inspiration behind it, I think it's really inspiring for everyone.
Yeah.
Because now you've done all this and you've got all this experience. You're doing your aerial, you've got your martini glass, you've got your all these different kind of like things that you can do on the stage. We talk about the business behind. So now you're doing this where you're inspiring and teaching others to do the same, aren't you? So tell us about the Successful Showgirl.
So I set up the Successful Showgirl in lockdown, so 2020, basically because I've seen a lot of new performers that are coming through who were applying for jobs but didn't really know how to go about it. So they were like me, a little bit older, wanting to get into the industry, but there's no real way of doing that if you don't already know someone within the industry or you don't have a business background already. So for me, I already had a dance business background, and when I was trying to get jobs as a performer, I just used the way I get jobs as a dance teacher and used it to get jobs as a performer. But if you've never had any like business skills or anything like that, I think it's really difficult to break into something like that, because it is essentially you work freelance, so it's a self-employed industry, and you've got to know how to market your product. So your product essentially is your act, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do. In lockdown, I didn't really do it to set up a business. I just set up a little group really to help new performers and give them like advice and stuff like that. Because it is quite a cliquey industry, isn't it? And a lot of sometimes you do see established performers knocking new performers down for not knowing what they're doing. And that used to I find that really frustrating because we all didn't know what we were doing at one point. So that's why I set up the group really. And I just used to go on live every day. I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. It gave me a purpose, because when your purpose is taken away from you, if you have a job and you can't go to it, it's just like, so that really gave me a purpose through lockdown. And then it's just really evolved into a business where I coach now people to become professional performers, but they come for the business side of performing really. So yeah, it just evolved that way.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing, because you are working freelance, you've got to source your own gigs, you've got to like do all the legal side of things, everything. Like, I don't know if people realize when you're like, just even as a burlesque performer, you know, just burlesque even as a whole, you're booking your own things, you're sourcing your own costumes, you're doing everything for yourself really, aren't you? You know, when you think. So a lot of people, it's not just what you see on stage, it's the whole business and the mechanics behind it that's really important. And I think when I started, it's like 2004, my God, 2004. And I wish I'd have had someone like you, because just out there on your own, no one even really knew the name burlesque. It was just like messaging any venue, any kind of club nights, just doing all these gigs. And then you've got to think about how you're going to sell yourself, how you're going to describe yourself, your promo, your costumes, your fees, your your public liability, and it's a lot. And you know, I think a lot of people can get deterred and put off by that without having that guide. So what you're doing is amazing. I think it's really good, because you are a businesswoman. That's the thing. I do class you're a proper businesswoman. That's what's good. So it's like having that guide is perfect, really. You enjoy business though, don't you? You enjoy the business side.
I love business. I feel like if it was a business or it was something random, it's the businessy bit that I love. And I think a lot of people get put off when they don't book gigs and stuff, because they think, oh, my acts must be rubbish. But it's actually normally not because their acts are rubbish. It's because the business skills are rubbish and they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to like send off decent applications or anything like that. It's never really their act. It's the business side of it that people struggle with. So that's the bit I love.
So like, for anyone listening that's like doing burlesque or anything like that at the minute, from the other side of the, like, from say you putting on an event, what sort of things are you looking for in a nutshell that can give them an idea of what to think about? Like what kind of makes you think, yeah, this is someone that I would book?
Yeah, so people who have, feel like you have to have like a brand. So if you are a burlesque performer, you obviously have to have a name, don't you? And that's your brand. So you need to be emailing from an email address, I think personally, that is your performer name or something to do with you as a performer. I get like emails of people sometimes and they're like, email is jellytops123, which is just totally random. Like, if I want to go back and find, I'm never going to find you. So that's like a big one for me. You have to like make sure your social media is in your performer name, your email address is in your performer name. When you email people, you need to like speak to them professionally, like find out a little bit about them. Don't just blanket email people. Sending footage as well is like gold. If you've not got any footage of your acts, you're just not going to get booked. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to go and buy a car without seeing it first, and I'm not going to go and buy a sofa without sitting on it first. I need to see it, and people need to see your act. They're not going to book you if they don't see it. So footage is like the number one thing, and pictures of yourself as well in your costumes. I would say if you haven't got any of those things, you're going to struggle. You need to, like, you really definitely 100% need pictures and footage of your act before you're ever going to get
one
booked.
of those things in it as well when you're starting out, though, because like when you start, if you've not got footage, you don't get a gig. But if you've not got a gig, how do you get footage? So where does this situation come from? So when people are completely brand new, so say I'm just like, you know, just left uni, or I'm in my later years and I think, you know what, I really want to do burlesque. I've been to a million shows. I'm obsessed with it. I know I could do it, but how do I get my foot in the door? So what happens there? Because once you're established, you absolutely really need to think of it as a business, don't you, to take yourself seriously. Yeah. You really need to get that momentum and think of it in any way of any kind of business, you know, just whether you love it or not, it is still a business, you know.
Yeah. 100%.
But if you're first starting, it's switching from that passion and that idea to getting your foot in the door. How do people do that if they've not got anything under their belt yet? What would you suggest?
I would suggest for getting footage is what's going to get you gigs. So you need to get footage no matter what. So you can do that. You can hire a church hall and go and do your dance in the church hall, record it on a phone and send that off to people. People will expect that. They just want to say that you can do your routine in your costume and what they're getting for their money. Okay. Obviously, if it's church hall footage, you're not going to be getting the big bucks like performers that have got theatre footage, but you're going to get a foot in the door. So I would suggest like that people book somewhere for 10 or 20 quid and then go and record the stuff so that you've got something to send to people. That will be my biggest tip. Yeah. That's what's you bookings from the start. I think
that's it. You just got to kind of source everything you can, really, haven't you, and bring it all together.
And you can get free things as well. So you can like do like swaps with photographers where they see, it's called time for photos, where you model for them and you do it in your costumes, and then they'll take photos. They get to use them for their portfolio. You get to use them for your promo for your acts. The same with like, you could do it with student videographers. If someone's looking to get a reel together, then you could work with someone, and you can go on Facebooks and you book, and you can find these groups that do student photography or student videography, and you can book somebody and do like a collaboration, and that's like a free way of doing it when you've not really got any money behind you. That's how I did it. And then I got like I did like a free show, and I would never advise like working for free, but when you're starting out, you're not working because it's not your job. It's something that you need to get your foot in the door. So if you've never done it before, then you need to do something for free where you're on a stage and someone films it. Even if your mate comes and films it on their iPhone, then you've got your footage then, and then you can send it off to people, because your footage is your gold, really. Without that, you're never going to earn any money.
And I think even like, I always kind of say don't do the freebies, but I've done it. We've all done it. Like, when you first start, you kind of don't want to be turning things down, because it is footage and it's experience as well. It's just getting in that circle and like enjoying yourself and seeing if it really is for you, you know, because it is a big commitment, and it can be hard kind of mentally for some people, can't it? Because there's rejection. You don't get every gig you try for, and it's not a personal thing a lot of the time. You're just not suitable for that lineup, or you're doing something similar to somebody else on the bill, so it's not going to work. And that is another thing that people have to kind of deal with as a performer, don't they, working freelance, that you've got to stay motivated both as a business and as a performer, but also to keep that kind of tough, like outer shell, and not kind of crumple. I've not got any gigs, I may as well give up, I'm obviously rubbish, you know, which is also, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely difficult, but I think you need to realise, like, when you apply for a show, there are sometimes hundreds of applications. People might not even get to the end of sifting through the applications before they've made the decision who they're going to pick. So you don't even know if yours has been seen at that point. So personally, I don't get bogged down when I send an application off. I just send it and I forget about it. It's like a game of numbers, and you've just got to send the more you send, the more jobs you're going to get.
You just have to keep going. And if you enjoy it, I think this is why it's important to love what you do. You've got to keep loving it, haven't you? Because that's why you keep doing it. Because sometimes it's not all going to be just fun and games. It's work.
Yeah, and I love my job. I would do it for free, but I'm a businesswoman, so don't do it for free. Like,
exactly.
You've got to do something that you would do for free, but you've got to understand that it is your job, and if you want it to pay your bills, then you've got to charge. Like, you've got to charge for it, haven't you? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So burlesque, we've said burlesque quite a lot. So was burlesque, when you first thought about actually like going on stage, part of the plan, or did burlesque kind of just evolve naturally, or was it something you went in thinking, I'm going to do some burlesque?
So basically, I started doing aerial lessons first, but I wasn't doing it to perform. I was just doing it for fun. I wanted to do something different before I was 30, and I started doing that because one of my instructors that worked for me taught aerial. So I went to some classes and we did a bit of a charity show. Again, it was just for fun. I had no intention of like becoming a performer. But at the show, there was a burlesque performer on and she was amazing. It was Miss Whiskey Falls, if anyone knows who she is. She's amazing performer. And I watched it and I'd had a few wines and I was like to my boyfriend at the time, I could do that. And then when I got home, I thought, I definitely could do that. Like, I know I could do it. So I made myself a name up on Facebook. I gave myself like the name Kitty Campari.
This same night? Is this same time? Yeah, this is what I mean about you. Talk about I'm just going to do it. I'm doing it. I love it.
I am like a bottle of wine deep now. So I got a lot of confidence in myself and my abilities. So I set a Facebook name page up. And then I just went on like some burlesque unpaid jobs groups and I just applied for loads of jobs. Had a bit of footage from my aerial show that I'd seen the burlesque lady at. So I sent that off and I got like a couple of unpaid jobs. I went and did them. Then I got footage of myself at them and then I sent them off for paid jobs. And before I knew it, within a few months, then I was working like in a residency that I was working at with you. So
yeah,
it works. Like, you can do it, but you've just got to be smart about it.
You've got to be smart and you've got to be brave.
Yeah, you just got to.
I think just go for it. Like, there's nothing to lose. Just go for it. You know. And if it's in your mind and it's in your mind that big, like even if it was just that night that it was just such a big moment, like, oh my God, I could do this. I am going to do it. You got to act. And even if it's just something niggling away over the years, like, act on it. Just go for it one day. You know? Just do it. But it does take a bit of bravery, doesn't it? But just go for it.
It does, yeah. I just thought if I get to like mid-30s, late 40s, where I've got like kids and stuff and I've never like even tried, I'll always regret that. So I just drank some wine and did it. That's not what
I'm gonna use that as the headline for the episode. I just drank some wine and did it.
I'm Kitty's top tip. That I don't think that was the thing that got me the jobs. The drinking
no,
wine,
that didn't get you the jobs, and as I can vouch, that was not what got you the jobs. But I do love that just came from that moment. But sometimes you just have these realizations in your life, don't you? And it's like it is the light bulb moment where you think, God, you know what? This is actually a calling for me right now.
Yeah.
And obviously that night was meant to happen because look at you now. You know, it wasn't a fluke. It was for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. So you did mention kids before, so are we allowed to mention the exciting news of the baby on the way? Ta-da!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So this is exciting. So how's this going to affect everything? Because you'll probably be doing like aerial shows with a baby on your back and then around the martini glass, you know, juggling all these different parts of your lifestyle. So how's it kind of looking in the near future with the baby edition?
Obviously I don't know, do I? Because I've not been a mum yet. I can only speculate. Everyone like, oh, you've not had a baby yet, so you don't know. But I'm very much a person where if I decide something, I'm going to do it. So I've got like a good business, like it's a passive income business. I coach performers a lot now, so I don't have to take every gig that comes my way. My aerial school, I really teach for that now. I've got a good group of staff that work around the UK, so they do a lot of that for me. So I've really like set my business up so that I can be more at home and then just take the odd gig that I want to do, the ones that I really, really enjoy. But my life's been like that for like the past couple of years, really, where I don't do all the gigs I get. I just do the ones that I really want to do.
Yeah. And that's it. And like it's all about timing, isn't it? Like, you know, and whether you kind of thought it would be now or you wasn't necessarily planning it to be now, this is the timing and this is when it's meant to have happened. And you've done all this stuff and you're so business savvy, like it's amazing. It's an amazing situation to be in because all these projects you have going and like you're saying, the passive income, the schools and everything. I mean, really, it's like it's inspirational to women out there, isn't it? It's like just go for it, get it all, have it all.
Yeah, like if you think about it, if you set up a passive income stream as well, like I'm all for coaching performers, but I am very much always trying to tell them that they need a passive income stream as well. For example, something like COVID happens again. If you're a performer, all your work is going to shut down. If you don't have a passive income stream or something that you can do online, then you're screwed, aren't you? Like you're just not going to be earning money again, and you're going to feel like you're back to square one again. So I think since lockdown, particularly, I've very much been like, right, how can I do whatever I'm doing, but have it as a way of making money passively as well. So now I have the dance school where I send people out. But again, if like we went into a lockdown and everything shut down, that would all stop. But we also have an online membership where people can take classes online, they can have coaching online. I've now started that for my kids' circus school as well. So we're going to have an online element for the kids too. I do teacher training courses that are going to be online predominantly from April. So it's just always thinking about how you can do stuff that and put it online. All my lockdown classes and things that I did online, I recorded them all and I still sell them now. So I'm still making money from things I did 2 years ago. So I'm always like pushing other women that perform to do the same kind of things. If you teach or anything that you do, record it so that you can put it on a platform where you can continue selling it even afterwards and not have to put any real effort into it, because a lot of women are going to have families and things like that, and you're not going to be able to be traveling around everywhere forever. If you choose not to have a family, then fine, but some people will, and I think you need to be prepared for that eventually. And if you start now, even if it's way off in the future, then you've got it sussed. By the time you get to that point, you're already making money. And even if you don't want to do it to have a family, like who wouldn't want to be making money? Like who wouldn't want to check their phone? You wake up in the morning and you've made like a few £100 from doing nothing. Like who wouldn't want
even
that?
if you're loving that lifestyle of traveling around the world and doing gigs, that's what you want, that passive income as well alongside it, because it gives you so many more options and so much more freedom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is the thing as well. I think that people like didn't really realize the power of online to the extent until COVID kind of happened. You know, I don't think anyone really thought like it was an option as much as it was. And for people like us performers, where everything kind of was stopped and there was no one to back us up or any funding or anything, like no one really cared about us as a side of whatever, like the side of the pandemic. But online is not going to go away. Now it's happened. People love it. It's not going to go away. It wasn't for a purpose because we were locked in our houses. It's just how the world works now, isn't it? You know, we can do classes with people on the other side of the planet. It's fine. So why would we then stop that? You know, and I think people should keep that in mind, that it's not going to stop. It is the future now. It's our current life, and it's going to just get more and more as the future goes. So I think that advice that you're saying is spot on, because it isn't going to go away, is it? It's part of the norm now.
And I think like if you've got some kind of business that just runs itself, where you have uploaded something, like maybe you know how to make a course about, it could be anything. If you're a performer, like maybe you're really good at doing your makeup, so you could do a makeup tutorial course. You might be really good at making costumes, so you could do a costume tutorial course. You can upload that onto like Patreon or Teachable or Buy Me a Coffee, and then people can just buy that whenever. So you wake up in the morning, you've made a load of money, but you've not actually done anything other than the initial work that you did like ages ago. But that money, you can invest it back into your business, or you can go on holiday, or you can buy more costumes, or whatever you want to do with it. Like, it doesn't have to be planning for the future. You can do whatever you want, but it's just, I don't understand why we wouldn't want to be setting ourselves up for that. It just makes sense to me. I want to work less so that I can do the things that I love, but still make the same amount of money, which is what a passive income business gives you, basically.
Yeah. And it's that realization, isn't it? Once you get your mind around the fact that if you're only ever getting paid for the things that you're there for, you're limited.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, of course you are.
You're never going to get that freedom because you need to be there in person to make that money per hour. And if you're going to be paid per hour and you calculated that through the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're like, wow, that's a lot of work for not a lot of profit. If I have to be there all the time. But if you're there while something's selling online or a book selling or a course is selling, you don't need to be there. So suddenly there's like 5, 10 versions of you all working at the same time. And sometimes you're having a lovely time. You're just having a wine or a holiday. And that's the way to work, and it's working smarter.
Sometimes I'll be in the pub and then you get a notification you've sold something.
Yeah.
And not even doing anything, you just having a drink in the pub. Like, it's just the way forward. It is going to be the future. So people, I think, as much as, like, we're all creatives as performers, so everybody's got some creative talent that you probably feel like is nothing to you, but to another person it will be something totally baffling. Like, for me, setting up Successful Showgirl, it's common sense how to apply for jobs. It's common sense that I need to send my footage. It's common sense that I need to be insured. But for somebody else starting out, that's not common sense. So I've made a business out of that. Other people will have like a skill that they think is common sense, and other people will be looking to learn that skill but won't have a clue where to start. So you've got a passive income business there ready to go if you just put the initial effort in and get it recorded and get it on somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's the best advice, and I think everybody should have a think, because people have hobbies that they just are amazing at, and because they think it's a hobby, they don't think of it as like something that can turn into financial gain. But there's courses and all sort of things you could do that you could do online, really, when you think about it. People have so many skills that they just take for granted that I wouldn't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it. If we wanted to learn it, teach us, that's the thing we would pay for. So it's definitely worth, I think everybody should really listen to that and like take that advice. And if they're coming from like a dancer thing or a burlesque kind of thing, I mean, Successful Showgirl is a fantastic thing. So they should look you up anyway. Do you get a lot of people through Facebook more than anything? Because you do a lot of Facebook lives as well, don't you? When you
I do
a lot of like advice and things on lives on Facebook.
So we have like a free community Facebook group that people can just join, and I do like a live every Monday and I give free advice in that. We've got a YouTube channel, so that like filters back to us as well. Instagram, we get people through that as well, TikTok. But all these things are, whatever I do for Facebook, I post on Instagram. Whatever I do for Instagram, I post on TikTok. Like, they're all the same things. It's just really different audiences. So that's what I would advise other people to do for their performing and things like that, or passive income businesses of any description. Anything you post, you want to be repurposing on all your different platforms that you're on, so that you're hitting like loads of different audiences. Because some people will love Facebook, but some people will love TikTok. Or like, I know people who don't have social media, but they love TikTok. So if you're not hitting those or all of them, then you're probably missing out a proportion of people that you can be getting in front of. And especially as a performer, you want to be getting in front of producers, don't you?
Yeah. And that's the thing with content as well, because it feels really like overwhelming at first, doesn't it? But I suppose once you get used to it, you can share things on so many different platforms. You know, you don't have to be creative about every single individual one. Like, how do I do a funny TikTok? How do I do an inspirational Instagram, for example? You can just get you and your format and your vibe, and then just spread it across all the socials and just
of course you can.
So, because you've got so much going on and you're really busy, like, and it's great to watch it. Give us a general, like, what's a week like in Kitty's world then usually? What's an average week? Well, a week when you're gigging as well as doing all the business. Like, just give us a random, like, summary.
Right, it seems like I'm really busy because I have got lots of businesses and stuff, but I've like engineered them so that I don't have to work very much. So on a Monday, I don't work at all in the morning. I might do a bit of admin if I feel like it. And then I have coaching sessions for a couple of hours in the afternoon. The evening, I teach at my dance studio for a couple of hours. That's it. And then like Tuesday, I'm off all day, pretty much on a Tuesday. Same on a Wednesday. I just teach 2 hours in the evenings.
Yeah.
And then Thursday I'm off all day. Friday I'm off all day. Saturday and Sunday. I might do 4 more teach workshops. I might not. But all my businesses are running in the background. So I might do a bit of admin here and there, but I have got like a really chilled out life. I don't work that much. Not like I did when I was a dance teacher and I was working like 60 hours a week, going into school and teaching from 8 o'clock and only coming home from my own studio at like 9 o'clock at night. And I was earning less money then. So again, it is all about like working out how you can do less exchanging your time for money and more putting your stuff out there where it can be making you money while you're having like a chill life or spending time with your family or doing whatever you want to do. You might be wanting to go back to uni and learn something else. Who knows what people want to do? Yeah. But you want to be able to spend your time the way you want to spend it rather than spending it to make money, if you know what I mean.
And that's it. When people are watching your social media and stuff and they think, oh, she's living the dream, and you are living the dream, and we are really lucky doing the jobs that we do because we're doing jobs that we love. But it's still all about balance at the end of the day, isn't it? It's about balance.
Yeah.
You know,
you still need to have that time with like family and friends and time where you don't work at all. Even though you love your job, like you can't just work constantly. That's not a good lifestyle to have either. You have to have balance. And I think balance as well as a self-employed person is one of the hardest things to achieve. Once you crack that.
Having free time and downtime is really important as well creatively, because you can't just be creative 24/7, 7 days a week, forever and ever and ever. Sometimes you need to step away to like have that next brainwave where you're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to do this, or I've just thought of a routine, or I've thought of a tour idea, or I mean, if you just constantly going, sometimes that kind of, you can drain yourself. So it's just balance, and it's like working effectively and everything. I wanted to ask you, because this is like one of the things that I've always wanted to do and I never did it. You actually ran away with the circus, didn't you? You actually did it. Like, that's the thing that I would always say, like, I'm just going to run away with the circus. I haven't done it yet. Watch this space, but you did. Tell me how that was. What was that like?
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was so good. It's really hard work. Like, don't get me wrong, but it was amazing. So you've got to live in a caravan for a start. You've got to travel around. Got to pull my own caravan, which is petrifying. You have to put the tent up as well. Like, that is part of your job. Not just like looking glamorous. One minute you're like all glamorous, dangling from like the roof of the big top, and then the next minute you're in your scruff ripping down a circus tent. It's crazy. But it is like such a surreal experience, but I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
How long did you do it for?
I did it for about 3 or 4 months, I think.
Was it?
It should have been a longer contract, but the contract was cut short. But yeah, I think it was about 4 months-ish.
Yeah. Wow. I do love it. I would love it. Like, it's just that kind of romantic thing I have about it. I don't know what it is. The costumes, the big top, all of it. But yeah, in reality, I imagine it's really hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard work as well. Like, you're doing 2 shows a day, like as an aerialist, so that's quite hard going.
Yeah.
Don't get any days off. Your day off is like taking the tent down and putting it back up. So it is like hard going, but
and then traveling all the time in between, it's a lot.
Yeah. And I loved it because all the jobs that I've ever done, I've either been working on my own or being the boss of like whatever. So my dance school, I was the boss. All my other like companies that I've had, but this was like I wasn't the boss. I was just someone working there. And so like you're more like a family where you're like living with the people that you're working with and stuff. And I really enjoyed that about it.
Yeah. Oh no, I think I would like it, but you know, maybe it's not in my future now. But that was one that I always used to say. Like, is there anything like that you still have in your mind? Like, you know what, I would love to do that you've not done yet.
I always say I would love to perform somewhere like the Moulin Rouge or Duane Park in New York or something like that. They're probably like on my goals list of things that I would like to do in the future.
Yeah. So we'll watch out for that one. Yeah. once the baby's born, once we've got back in the flow of things first. You
Wait
know,
till a bit older, and then I'll probably...
after a bottle of wine, she'll be like, I'm just gonna apply. That'll be it. Yeah. Okay, so right, I'm going to ask you a few, like, not quick questions, but just a bit more like, instead of a chat, just a few prompted questions, because I think people that know you will maybe want to know about these. So,
Yeah.
burlesque again. We talk about burlesque a lot, but a lot of people are really into it. A lot of your followers are into that side. What does burlesque mean to you? It's quite a deep one. Maybe it's not a deep one, but what does it mean to you?
I think burlesque to me means embracing your body, feeling empowered, celebrating different body shapes and sizes and colours and genders, etc. I feel like that to me is what burlesque is about.
Yeah.
And obviously you have the element of like the striptease and stuff like that, but for me, I think it really is like a celebration of different bodies that you don't see in the media. You only ever see certain types of bodies in the media, and that's not what you see at a burlesque show. You like get to see all kinds of different bodies in beautiful costumes, etc.
I think burlesque is like for women. I mean, men enjoy it. It's like everybody's inclusive, but I always think like a lot of the shows that I devise as well, I think for women as an audience and empowering women and inspiring women, and it's very female thing, isn't it? It's like a very like empowering thing. But have you had any negativity along the way with people saying stripping, or it's a stripper, or you're a stripper, or any kind of...
Yeah, I've had loads of that, and I wouldn't say it's like negative being called a stripper. Like, I've got no issues with someone saying I'm a stripper. Like, I do strip, like what I do.
Technically it's happening, and
so I've got no issues with that. People will think what they want to think. I'm not really that bothered. I enjoy it for what it is. Like, I think it's empowering. Our demographic is majority female, isn't it, in the audience? And it's normally female or LGBTQ members of the community. It's dead rare that it's males, and when it is males, it's normally somebody who's been dragged there by the wife or the girlfriend.
It's cringing and like,
So like, I think it is empowering. It's nice for people to see. Like, I always get good feedback of how nice it is to see people with bodies like they've got, where in our society we feel like if you don't look a certain way, you should be embarrassed by your body, don't we?
Yeah.
But I think women that go to a burlesque show often feel more empowered because they've seen other people getting on stage doing like amazing performances, looking amazing, but with not your typical, what people would say is the typical beauty standard body type.
Yeah. And then you see, don't you, it's the combination of things. It's the confidence, and it's just that kind of enjoyment and doing what they're doing and loving what they're doing that becomes really sexy and attractive. And it doesn't just have to be about a body. It's not about the body shape. It's just about everything that female is kind of portraying.
Yeah.
And I think it's really great as an audience member when women see that and they're like, God, I could do this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like after a show, like, it's not in an egotistical way, but I do love that bit where everybody's like, oh my God, it was amazing. And it's not because you think, yes, I am, thank you. You know, it's because you realize that they've got something from it that you wanted to show them. They've got that inspiration. They got it. They got the laughs or the tongue-in-cheekness or the sexy bit. And it's made them think they can do it. And I think that's the beauty of burlesque. And if people haven't seen it, I think people really should. I think every woman should try burlesque at some point, whether it's in the class, in the living room. They should just give it a go. It's good for you. I think it's good for the soul.
In our society as well, it's so shameful to be like a sexual person as a woman. For example, the whole stripper conversation, that an insult to you if someone says, oh, you're a stripper. Why is it an insult? It's just because women are monetizing their sexuality. People don't like it as a society. Like, I love that in burlesque you can be sexual and you can show your sexuality, but people embrace it and it's empowering and people love it. And I think if we did that in more different walks of life, the world would be a lot better.
Because it's such an old-fashioned mindset.
Isn't
it? Even the stripping element, when people say, because I'm thinking of the stripping thing as well, because I've seen a video yesterday about burlesque, and a lot of people were having this debate underneath, like it's always a controversial topic, because someone was saying, oh, the video is beautiful and she's doing this, that, and the other. And then one of the responses was, oh my God, it's just a stripper. So what? Everyone can take the clothes off. And then obviously then everyone jumps on board like, it's not, it's art and she's doing this and it's about expression. And you think, oh, you know, it's quite a heated debate. But even so what? Like you're saying, so what if you're a stripper? You know, I feel like detail and everyone, everybody, we all own it, don't we? Like, well, yeah. Stripping, you're taking clothes off. Technically, you're a stripper. But I don't understand the negative connotation, because even if you're talking about strippers in like clubs or lap dance bars and whatever, a lot of these women are really savvy business women.
I was just
at the end of the day, it's like, so I don't understand where this weird like connotation has come from of like, you know.
It's the same with OnlyFans, isn't it? There's people making millions out of OnlyFans, and people will still slut shame them and say that they're like stupid girls that are getting the clothes off, when actually, who's the stupid one? You're probably buying it, and they're the ones selling. They're the ones like living in a mansion, driving an amazing car, going on nice holidays. Like, who's the idiot?
Living the dream that they want. This is it, you know. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think anyone can shame anything or look down on anything. If that's your business and that's how you're owning it and you're bossing it, then there's nothing but respect, you know. And I do think it's old fashioned, and I do think it's men and women giving women a hard time, because it's not always men. It's like, it's not a male opinion. A lot of the time it's a female opinion, which is the hard part to kind of get your head around it. I think a lot of the negativity comes from women against women, and it's such a shame. It's like, come on guys, you know.
I think that's more insecurity, isn't it? Like, if you feel insecure about yourself and then you're watching someone else who appears to be confident in themselves and stuff, often like people express their insecurities by trying to bring someone else down. I think that is more of the issue there. I think it happens a lot less these days, but it still does happen.
Yeah, definitely does happen. And now, I didn't even think about the OnlyFans thing, but there's always like a period of time, like a modern wave of something that everyone jump on board and try and drag women backwards with. Like, oh no, it's OnlyFans, they're doing this for money. But you know, this is it, you know, go for it. Whatever works, I'm all for it, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, so with all these like experiences under your belt, all these shows you've done, can you think of a moment in time where you were on stage or you just done a show and you think, wow, that was like a massive highlight of your career, like a wow moment, I've made it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say when I was in the circus, the first show, like when I was doing silks and I was like super high up in the big top, and I did a split and like looked round and I just thought, oh my God, this is actually my life. Like, I'm in a circus as a performer. It was just like dead surreal.
Wow. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
That goosebump moment when you're like, oh my God, as if this is me. This is my life.
Yeah, that's what it was like. I was like, oh my God, as if like I'm actually doing this. Yeah, it was crazy.
I could have been in theatre right now. Imagine. I'd have had to run off there to put my rig up, so probably not. No, I love it. Also, what about on the flip side? Have you had any moments, not a negative moment, because we don't have negative moments, because even like you could have a bad gig and it's still a learning curve and it's still a good experience. Yeah. But has there ever been like a fail, like oh my God, that was a fail, or a comedy nightmare, or anything that you just think, oh God?
I'm trying to think. I probably have loads. There's been like times when, I've done like, so I did this.
There we go.
I did this really posh New Year's party once, and they booked me for burlesque martini glass, but it was like really expensive, and it was just like a really nice venue, and I thought, I'm not sure these people are going to get burlesque. So like I kept saying to the woman who booked me, shall I just do it as like a non-striptease? I'm not sure these people are going to get it. And she was like, no, they'll love it. So I did my routine, and as I did my reveal at the end, which is where you take off like the last bit of clothes, like to reveal just you and your nipple tassels, I got this like huge gasp from the audience, and everyone just went, oh! And I was like, yeah, I thought I was going to get outraged, but I just carried on anyway, and I finished my routine, and I must have been dancing from that point for another 2 minutes. I came off and I walked through the crowd, and then my friend who was performing with me, but she was doing aerial, was laughing her head off in the corner. And as I got closer to it, like, I can't believe how brazen you were about that. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. And she said, look down. And when I looked down, my nipple tassels had fell off, but they'd fallen off before I'd even took the boa off. So it just looked like I was doing a topless dance in this like really.
Oh my God.
It didn't even look like, oh, she's doing burlesque, but her nipple tassels have accidentally fallen off.
It's like, this is the reveal.
Got her boobs out in the middle of a restaurant
for another 2-minute strut around the building.
No, I'm just carrying on as normal.
Oh my God.
The day after and apologise and everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was not meant to happen. And they were like, oh no, everyone loved it. But I was like, I was mortified.
That's the best. That's the best thing ever. Because these things happen all the time, don't they? But that's like, that was done to the toppest level that could have been.
Yeah. I've lost tassels before, but obviously in a burlesque club, you're expecting to see someone in nipple tassels. Yeah. And you see them fall off, so you know, like, oh, that was just an accident.
Yeah.
It's not the actual nipple being out that was my issue. It was the fact that everyone just thought I was like getting my top off for no reason. It was just oh, amazing.
I presume that wasn't anything that was filmed. You've never
it wasn't once, thank God. But it was because I was right near this fire and it was dead hot. So there was an open fire in this restaurant. And they put me right next to it, like sweating while I was doing this routine. So obviously because I was so sweaty,
yeah,
didn't stick, like came off. Oh, so now I know not to dance next to open fires because I'll just get sweaty and it'll just be embarrassing.
There you go. That's the words of wisdom from today.
Yeah.
Take anything away from today and you're going to be a burlesque performer. That is one thing you need to know from Kitty.
Don't get too hot is my advice.
Don't get too hot. Don't dance by the fire because those nipple tassels are going to sweat right off. They're going to get more than they bargained for.
They definitely did.
Brilliant. So so it's been absolutely fantastic talking today. A couple of questions before we finish because I could talk forever. Yeah. If you wasn't doing this as a career now, what job can you see yourself doing?
Oh God. If I wasn't doing this now, I probably would have just been a doctor. I probably just would have stayed with that.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense because this is drawing you from that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously because the podcast is called Born to Do This, so we always end with that question. Do you think the career you've got now, you were born to do this? Do you think this is your calling?
Yeah, 100%. Like even when I was a baby, I used to use my dad's briefcase as a stage and dance on it. So I definitely was meant to be a dancer.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Yeah, I agree. It's in your blood. It's just your destiny, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thank you for today.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's been so nice talking to you. Anything coming up that we can look out for? So obviously we've got the Successful Showgirl.
Yeah.
And anyone can like have a look on there and your social media and stuff. Anything else you've got coming up we can keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I also run instructor training courses now. So we've got a Showgirl SAS instructor course, which is basically showgirly burlesque style dancing instructor course. It's online, so it launches on the 1st of Feb, so people can go and have a look at that if they're interested in doing something similar. And I train them in all the dancing stuff, but I also train you in the business part as well, so how to like make a successful business out of it rather than just getting a certificate and then being left to your own devices. And I do the same for aerial stuff as well, through my circus school. So yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Everything's going on. All good luck, all good for the future. Obviously, I'm not keep in touch. I'm not going to disappear, but and yeah, everyone check her out online. You'll find Kitty Campari, Successful Showgirl, and the Martini Glass Girl. So thanks for chatting, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been lovely.
It's been great. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for listening. I'd really appreciate it if you can leave a review and share this to all of your friends. Subscribe to be notified of my next episode, and remember to ask yourself, were you born to do this?